Hey everyone, and welcome to TPMC's The Poshcast, Season 1, Episode 3. And I have two lovely members here. We have Sasha and Ariana. Thank you guys so much for coming. And today's topic is boundaries. And I'm really excited to talk about this as I think it's very prevalent as a mother, and I think it really shifts into a different dynamic once you become a wife and a mom. And boundaries goes with everything. We're talking friends, family, career, learning when to say no. I think that we all kind of I know I have really big issues with saying no. I feel we get fear of FOMO, fear of missing out. We get scared that our friends are going to be upset with us if we say no, or we don't, instead of just saying we don't want to go or I'm just too tired, we come up with this lavish story to not upset people. And it's just no is an answer, right? So how do you guys feel about band? Like, okay, let's go back 12 years. No, 15. Like Dream Music plays 15 years ago. I don't know how long, but pre-kids, possibly pre-marriage. Like, what did boundaries look for you at that time?
I was clueless when it came to boundaries. In fact, if I'm honest, the moment I realized that I lacked boundaries was the day that I became a mother for the first time.
Wow.
I had told my husband that I did not want anybody visiting me the day that I gave birth.
Wow.
And so he managed to spread the message except with one person, which was a very close friend of his. And lo and behold, a few hours after giving birth, his best friend walks through the door with my husband's ex-wife on FaceTime because they wanted to see the baby. I still have my folly connected.
Oh my god.
Okay, I was a freaking mess, but I lacked the emotional maturity to say anything. So I smiled. I was polite.
But that is your day, and now you're uncomfortable.
So uncomfortable.
And that's not okay.
I just went ahead with it. But if I could go back to that moment, being the person I am right now, I would have said, I appreciate that you want to meet the baby, but I'm not comfortable with visitors.
What did you really want to say? Get the F out of my room? No, you don't have to answer.
I wanted to insult my husband.
Oh, of course.
Because I was codependent emotionally at that time because I was expecting him to put my boundaries up for me.
Sure. Correct. And you're in a very vulnerable state.
No, totally. But now I know that it's up to me to put those boundaries in place and tell her, you know what? When I'm home and settled, you're more than welcome to come over.
Correct.
Not today.
What were you in fear of?
Just
upsetting people while you felt upset.
Yeah, just making them feel uncomfortable.
But you were uncomfortable.
I was, and I put their emotions before mine. And that's totally the definition of a lack of boundaries.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's terrible. And we have Ariana, you're going to be a first-time mom.
Yes.
How many months are you right now?
I am almost 6 months.
Wow.
So next week.
So you have a learning curve ahead of you.
Very much so.
Do you already see it shift in things?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say the past couple of years, I really started to work on self-healing and boundaries.
Okay, great.
I was that people pleaser.
Yeah.
I was afraid to say no to people, to hurt them and, disregard my own emotions. And then you build up resentment with people, you get upset and you put those emotions on those people when it's really your responsibility.
Correct. I don't know, it's like most of your friends have babies. I'm not sure of like the dynamic.
First one.
Do you feel like there's also a shift in that aspect of they're not understanding why you can't probably do certain things, or you're preparing? You're probably nesting right now.
I am.
Like you're in like nest mode, right? Right now you're like the baby room and this is done. And I don't know.
Yes.
What about this? And my dream goals for the hospital, like this, your mind is racing. You've got 6 more. Wait, I'm so bad in math. How many?
3 more.
You're pregnant for 12 months. You got 3 more.
Yeah.
So
I'm definitely dealing with that right now. Even like some of my friends who want to come and visit during this time, I'm so excited. I just moved here about a year ago.
Where are you
from? Massachusetts.
Oh, that's right. Okay, great.
Yeah. But now I'm thinking, I'm tired. I don't want to. I really want to be with them.
You're allowed to be tired.
Yeah. I'm tired. I'm growing a human. And I just want to just be by myself on the couch. And it can be hard to still navigate that. And,
especially if your friends aren't mothers, they just can't relate.
Absolutely.
Well, one thing to keep in mind is that boundaries, they're not set in stone. They're flexible. So you can have a set of boundaries for your neighbor and your coworkers and a separate set of boundaries for your best friend. You're not going to feel comfortable maybe touching the same topic with your bestie as you would with your hairstylist.
Correct.
So that's also something that people have to keep in mind, is that boundaries are not set in stone.
So just so you know, because I just did a stall, I do have my daughter in studio. And I the rules were you had to be quiet. Like there's a lot of rules, and she didn't listen to the boundary, and she's like singing in the background.
I do feel a difference in shift. Right now, as I'm focusing on becoming a mother, I'm not working anymore as I really was more career
you're about
heavy.
to go into a whole other.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the questions women ask you? What do you do all day?
Exactly.
What do they ask?
What are you doing all day? Or what's your job? And it's, I got my master's at Harvard from psychology. And, there is that guilt of, am I supposed to be doing something? Can I not just be resting during these moments because I have this quote unquote free time?
Correct.
But it's being real with myself and saying, hey, no, this is think about it, the only couple of months that I have left from my own self.
If you wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
At all. If you want to go to work, we had a conversation in one of our episodes about independence. When we were talking about that, it was just about you. Like if you're a stay-at-home mom, I would suggest still having some kind of side income, whether it's a hobby or your like Etsy stuff, like whatever it is, do something for your own self-identity and grace and being financially independent on your own, just in case of you never know what's going to come. But being a stay-at-home mom is such a hard job in itself. Like there's nothing, I don't know what we have to cower down and pretend we're doing something that we're not. Like, oh, I'm on all these committees and boards, like just say, I'm at home taking care of my babies. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
It's a privilege. And I feel like people hurt people. I always tell my kids
I love that you said that. Yes.
It's so true. And so why do I have to make myself small to make you feel better?
Correct.
It's a privilege and I'm enjoying it. So do I have to feel bad because I drive a luxury car or I live in a gated community?
Correct.
No, I don't. So I have the privilege to be a stay-at-home mom, which, as you said, it's a ton of work. I feel like it's harder than when I actually, before being a mother. I mean,
mentally, physically, all of it.
It's draining because you do not have a day off. You can't say, oh, I'm going to take a lunch break.
No.
Cover for me. No, it's 24/7.
Correct. And sometimes you go hours, if not upon hours, not speaking to a soul, especially if you have an infant that doesn't speak. Like the house is
so
quiet.
Isolating.
It is isolating. It's
Those
hard.
First few years, totally.
Not to scare you.
Let's look forward to.
Yay! Yes. No, there's a lot of good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good.
Experience.
It is. So what are some tips or advice that I know that you're pretty good with this. So let's go back a little bit. I want to talk about what you guys did individually or what your career in the past was or it is. I remember on your application, you did go to Harvard. I know that there was some psychology there. Tell us about it. Like, who is Ariana?
Sure. So I have definitely a passion in psychology.
Great.
So I love being here and talking about these topics with you guys. But I did a lot of my work on business psychology.
Interesting.
So taking, some of the theories and research that people have studied and really apply that to the business.
Okay.
So the past 6 years, I was actually an HR business partner. I worked for a biotech and
oh
my gosh.
Yeah. And so it was great.
So wait, but how do you, so psychology and business.
Yeah.
For a biotech company.
Yes.
How does that work? Like, was it through the employees? Was it through their business, their guidelines? Like
Yeah. So what I do is, you act as the advocate for the employees, but really for the employer.
Okay.
Mostly. So how do we motivate employees?
Oh, I love that.
How do, we get someone who is struggling in this certain area to excel and be promoted in another field? It could be.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
pretty
it was
cool.
a lot of cool things that you can use from psychology and bring it to the business.
Great.
But time and time again, I remember, my passion is with the people. So as much as I do love working with the business, it's definitely one-on-one with someone and understanding, like we're talking about right now, what are some of your triggers? What are some of your boundaries that you want to work on?
I need my triggers.
Yourself.
Yeah.
You can definitely help someone more when it's one-on-one and you get to know their specific triggers.
Absolutely.
And when I became a mother, though, I realized that I had a lot of unhealed trauma to deal with. And I just started going down this rabbit hole of information and I started to be really passionate about it. And I realized in the process that a lot of women are raised under like the good woman syndrome. Not sure if you're aware of it, but it's—
No, tell us.
Okay. It's basically when you're raised to be codependent and you're celebrated whenever you're passive, you agree to something, you're too kind, you're too nice, but those things are celebrated. And I see that a lot of mothers and future mothers don't realize that they're sacrificing so much, their dreams, their body, their mental health, their future in the name of love.
And why do you think that is? Why do you think it's the woman and not the man?
I think that men go through it as well, but that would be a whole different subject because men, since they're boys, they're raised to kind of like turn off their emotions and be strong.
Yeah, don't cry. Why are you crying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but that's just like a separate, topic.
Correct.
But in terms of us females, it's just totally different. It's like we have to put our emotions underneath, and it's like your children are your priority. Making people comfortable is your priority. And to all mothers and future mothers, my message is that, that's not love. Sacrificing yourself is not love.
Your message to the mothers, that was good.
My message is that you should model to your children what it feels like to be so in love with your life that you don't care about what other people think.
That's great.
And you're doing this for yourself, but also for your children.
What do you think? Do you think social media, obviously not, do you think, we know, like social media as far as boundaries, I feel like I think as women, we just overthink situations. Like so-and-so's upset with me. So, it just gets really like, you're too tired and too exhausted to also add that to your plate. And how do we avoid doing that? Do you just block it out?
It's the emotional load, I feel like, what makes it really tip over.
Yeah.
And something important is just to not take things personally. And I know it's easier said than done. It's so much easier said than done. But as you mature, I feel like it's more comfortable to just call people out. And I don't mean this in a negative way.
No, I think that's great. I think it
if
alleviates.
There's something that you're not sure about or you have a doubt, just tell that person. You don't have to be a bitch about it or use it like a mom tone, but just tell them, listen, this made me feel uncomfortable. I'm not sure if this or X or Y, and have them clarify that, because it's easy to jump to conclusions.
Correct.
And to really understand, where they're also coming from. And if, you get that answer from how their response is, and you kind of just
what do you think is some healthy boundaries that, our listeners or even ourselves can kind of do from a day to day? That, what's the first step for healthy boundaries as far as, let's go with friendship and then we'll go into family?
Well, first you have to establish what your boundaries are. Because if you're not used to having boundaries, you have to sit down with yourself and say, what do I really like? What are my dislikes? What am I comfortable with? What are my deal breakers?
I love
with
that.
This person?
What is my deal breaker? Oh,
what do I need?
So it's almost like you're dating your friends a little bit.
It's a different relationship, but still there's some similarities there. And once you have those boundaries clear in your head, then you can establish them.
Do you think it's been harder to make friends now as a mom, like your mom friends versus friends when you were in college and single? Why do you think that is?
You really have to connect with people because as a mom, you're just so busy juggling so many things. And it's hard to just connect with things that you have in common. Your children have to have things in common too, or at least
it's not like, we had a fireball shot over at the Irish bar. Like, I like your shoes.
Exactly.
There's
so many more people involved.
And you can't just go to any social event that they invite you to because, again, you have children. Not everyone has childcare. Your schedule might not align with that person's schedule because having kids, he naps at this time. Oh, my naps at that time. So there's just so much clashing going on there. It's hard.
You're going to learn to... People are going to be like, so did you breastfeed? Did you formula feed? And right there's a divide. There's so many, as women, it's so ridiculous because.
Or you C-section. Oh, I was natural birth. C-section isn't really.
Can we just stop that?
Like,
just stop. It's if the child is healthy, can we just stop?
It's funny. I'm kind of in that middle line right now where you said where it's easier or it's different, I guess, to make friends when you didn't have kids versus when you do have kids. So right now I'm in that middle line of, what's working for me right now? What are some people that I really want around me?
Correct. And your child. Yeah, I agree.
And so right now I may not know when he will nap or when he will eat. But from right now, just understanding, what are you aligned with?
Right.
And is that something that also your energy is so important? Not really taking negativity and taking things that bother you and trigger you anymore.
Correct.
And kind of send that line for yourself to also protect you, but also your kid down the line.
That's very important. They say that your vibe attracts your tribe, and I believe in that.
Ooh, so going into that, I want to know how you guys found this particular village. It makes me excited that you guys are here. Sasha, you've been here for a few years now. Yes. I would say about almost 2 to 3.
Going on 3.
How did you find us?
Instagram.
Really?
I remember seeing the pictures and thinking, oh my gosh, these girls are beautiful. I thought it was part of like some reality show. And I was like
So
afraid
awesome.
to even, inquire because I was like, there's no way they're going to let me in. Like, it just looks so perfect. And
We're a hot mess. All of us.
Yes. But I identified so much with the woman I was seeing, in the content, in the videos and the pictures. And it's just been an honor, honestly, to be part of the group because it's so hard to find like-minded women that are not judgmental and that are moms. I mean, hello, that was just perfect.
Just when I got your application, I was really excited and I knew that you were really going to vibe with the women and we're so happy you're here.
Thank you. That means a lot. And I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. You're fairly new. I would say
Fairly
a few
new,
months now.
couple months now.
God,
yeah.
I feel like it's gone by pretty quickly though.
It really has. I feel like I've been here for already like a year or so.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
It is.
No,
yeah.
it's good.
With how awesome everyone is and how nice and like you mentioned, inclusive. There is no judgment.
No, I like
that
it.
is so rare to find, especially, as women and as moms or soon to be moms. I found you guys on Instagram too.
Okay, cool.
And
so Instagram, I'm always curious because I don't know, you get the application. I'm like, I have no idea. Sometimes it says like referred by but I'm curious.
Again, you're looking for your tribes. So.
Exactly.
It
shouldn't own it.
Exactly.
It's true. It's
to
true.
be glam and to love fashion and beauty, but to have successful entrepreneurs,
correct,
moms who just love being moms and having a group of women that you can also just count on and ask for advice and help. That's all I wanted.
And please, you're right now, you're going to have a reality check. Like right now you're going through the motions. And then once the baby gets here and be like, wow, I really was no book and no, like me even saying this, you're not going to understand till the baby's here. And then your spouse or significant other goes to work. There's going to be kind of like a shift as far as like identity and you're going to question a lot. Like just know that we're here.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to say it to you, but you're not going to understand until you're in it. And you're like, yeah, no one told me about this part. And you're going to wear like really ugly panties on the way out from the hospital. Like they're really ugly.
I still haven't bought a maternity
they're
clothes
awful.
yet.
You don't know. I don't think I ever did. I think I wore some of the leggings with the weird like nude part.
Yeah.
And then I stopped. I was like, I'm just going to wear really tight bandage dresses and just roll with it.
Just rock it.
Yeah. And don't try to put on your old clothes.
Don't make that mistake.
Good advice.
Yeah. Just for a little bit.
Yeah.
Or
few months.
Don't be, for me, it was years.
It depends.
But don't get into the whole snap back thing. Like you literally, your organs have shifted from the front of your body to the back. Like
it's crazy.
Give your body time.
And grace.
Yeah. I think the word grace has popped up in every podcast. Like give yourself grace with every aspect of your life.
Oh, true. Yeah. You learn a lot of self-love after you become a mother. You really appreciate your body and what it can do.
I love that.
It's insane.
I'm already appreciating I'm looking at my body in a whole different light right now.
I don't know. It's just women are so strong. And then men are like, we're strong. I'm like, yeah, physically, but can you make a human? Like, no, I made her nose, her teeth, her ears.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's really wild.
The bigger they get, you just stare at them in awe. It's like, I created that.
Oh my God.
Like it's the biggest privilege.
It's wild. So Sasha has her own, a really great following. She does a lot of, is it like emotional work, like for parents? And can we tell us a little bit about it?
I educate people a lot on positive parenting, self-love, cycle breaking is something I'm super passionate about. Learning about childhood trauma.
Great.
There's something called generational trauma.
Correct.
And so basically I focus on how you can break those cycles because a lot of people aren't aware that they're carrying this until they become parents. And then they're triggered by a behavior in their child and they realize that they're repeating those patterns. Or when they get married, usually it's like a big milestone that happens in your life where you actually realize that you are carrying that trauma with you.
Mine was marriage, for sure.
Wait, marriage is a trigger?
Well, not
commitment.
No, when I entered marriage, I realized that I'm carrying how I react to certain things, how I little things like that. I realized, wait a second, I'm acting a little bit like my dad or my mom that I didn't want to carry over. And so that's some things, especially in the past couple of years, I've really honed in and wanted to work on so I don't pass it along to my children.
You're doing great.
Yeah, I know how much that hurt.
Well, I think the first step is realizing it, right? Because if you're not aware of it, then you can't change it.
Exactly.
And then wanting to change it.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
That's true. Powerful.
Because sometimes you realize it, but you just don't know how to do it or you're not ready to do it.
It's like telling someone, listen, these are the things that you did that hurt me. And they're like, I don't see it. Then it's never, you can get an apology, but if they're not self-aware or care to change it, they're not going to change it. It's just going to keep going.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And whatever the way that you parent your child is how they're going to grow up and how they're going to parent. I mean, it's just a lot of responsibility. Like
it is.
It's wild. It's
a big job.
You know, if someone's struggling with boundaries, all I would say is, you know, really it's what are your personal values? What are some things that are crossing yourself personally that are just depleting you?
You got to get comfortable with it. And it doesn't mean that you have to be this, you know, horrible person. I mean, I love helping other people, but you can't help others at your own cost.
I'm not kidding. I need it.
Yes, so. You become too vulnerable sometimes. And it's true. I mean, becoming a mother does affect you.
It does.
I remember before I could see the saddest movie and I would not try, not even
I'd be like, that's dumb.
Yeah. I'm like,
stupid
that's so
ending.
fake.
Me being cancer, I'm still crying.
Now I cry with anything that's like a little bit sad. Anything that I'm watching, it could be a reel, a movie, but it happens.
That's not okay.
I question myself every day. I'm like, I was not like this. Something happened.
But I'm a decent mother.
Okay, I have a question for you. If you're on a date with a guy and you notice him visibly checking out another girl during your date, how would you handle that now? And how would Emily?
Things that men don't understand is women take a lot of time to get ready for that particular date. So like I bought a dress, you know, I got my hair done, your nails,
your makeup,
your makeup, new shoes. You worked so hard for this stupid date. I'm getting mad now.
Yeah.
And, you know, you put so much effort and then, you know, Maria from El Barrio, I'm just kidding, passes by in some like jeggings. They're not even like real jeans, you know?
Gosh.
You know, and you're just like, why did I even put so much effort? So yeah, I would get very upset.
Yes.
Now I just get quiet. My anger is now in silence. I don't respond back to texts. I kind of just shut down versus like vocalize. I was very vocal and very aggressive in letting them know why they upset me. Now I just shut down.
You and I are the opposite. In the past, I was more
quiet?
Insecure.
Oh, no.
So I would have probably just been really quiet and then got home and just cried about it and not spoke to them again.
Oh, no.
But today, if that happened to me, I would probably be really sarcastic. And I have to work on that.
God, that's great.
It's about giving the person a dose of their own medicine. Of course, I'm not like that anymore, but I feel like back then that was my mentality. Either it would shut down or it would be super sarcastic. It's like there was no in between.
So disrespectful. Really. I feel like, especially at this age, if you're on this date, it's because you've already kind of done it all. Like I would hope that wouldn't really faze them, you know, but I don't know. I want him to be obsessed with me. Like, right. He's like, I don't.
And don't accept less. It should be like that.
Yeah. I don't want to deal with that again.
That's why we have to have high boundaries, high standards, and just do not settle for less. That's what self-love is all about.
Absolutely. All right, ladies, thank you for coming. Is there a way, if any of the listeners want to reach you for any of your courses or information and to get to know you, Ariana? Sure. Instagrams or handles?
You could find me at Sasha Juggles Life on Instagram and TikTok. And I also have a website called sashacircle.com. And I have a course coming up soon, so you could check that out too.
Wonderful.
And if you want to connect, I have a couple of videos on psychology, on boundaries and childhood trauma on TikTok. It's My Girl Riri.
Awesome.
On TikTok and Instagram.
Thank you guys so much for coming. And we're excited for our next week's episode. We will have the little people that make us moms come into the studio and get to know them and see what they see in us. So that'll be very, very funny. So thank you again. And we want to thank our sponsors for making this possible. Thank you, Face Foundry and Beauty Edition by Katie. Thanks again.
Thanks so much for having us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.